Kettlebell Axe is Pavel Tsatsoulin's new book and anti-glycolytic training program. Pavel did a lot of research on anti-glycolytic and the effects of lactic acid on the mitochondria. He came up with a method of training to avoid all the negative effects of lactic acid. Welcome to Kettlebell Axe. What's up guys? I'm Coach Luca, teacher of strength. I work with Strong First and we're here at the Kettlebell Club. I'm here to give you a brief overview of Kettlebell Axe, Pavel's new book. Now Pavel dives really deep into the science, but you can also skip that and go straight to the training. He says understanding is a delayed tactic, so just do the work. I'm not really here to explain the science, but if you're looking for a program that delivers a lot of qualities for physical training, more power, more endurance, fat loss, hypertrophy, this program really delivers. What's cool about it, it's a minimalist training and you can combine it with many other things. If you're playing a sport, if you're a strength athlete, if you're doing a hypertrophy program, this blends really well. AXE stands for aerobic. X stands for type 2X muscle fibers, which is your intermediate fast twitch muscle fibers. They're the strong and powerful ones. E stands for exercise. So basically the goal is to make your fast twitch muscle fibers, the most powerful ones, have strong endurance. Now this program is meant to be done with a single exercise, the hand-to-hand swing. But you can also choose other variations of ballistic exercises, like the one-arm swing, the two-arm swing, the snatch, and the kettlebell jerk. You'll be doing sets of 4 repetitions every minute on the minute. And you're gonna be progressing up to 6 and even sometimes as low as 2 reps. I'll be explaining the details on the whiteboard shortly. You'll be doing this every minute on the minute for a high number of sets. Now Pavel kept the reps pretty low on purpose is to avoid lactic acid buildup. Now the reason why he does this is really so you can repeat your power move or your exercise for a long duration. So many number of sets, up to 30 to 40. The really cool effect with this is you can keep going, you recover long enough, and you're not sore the next day. Now this method of training has tons of benefits. Why? Because you're just not gonna be sore the next day for what you're trying to accomplish. If your job or your sport requires you to perform at a very high level, you don't want your training to interfere with that. You want your training to help you as opposed to take away. And this training does exactly that. So rather than do high reps of an exercise with a short amount of sets, for example, 3 sets of 10, we switch it around and we do 10 sets of 3. By doing this, the volume stays the same, but instead, rather than making the last few reps very hard, you're making all of the reps really powerful and strong. Doing low reps, like swings every minute on the minute, has enough rest built in so you recover enough to be able to repeat it. So here's my full explanation of the program. Enjoy. Welcome to the Kettlebell Axe program explained. The selected exercise for Kettlebell Axe is the hand-to-hand swing, a powerful version which looks like martial arts punches. But if you're not familiar with this exercise, you may also choose the one-arm swing, the two-arm swing, kettlebell snatch, or kettlebell jerk. Just make sure that you're familiar with these exercises and you can perform them with crisp technique. If you are not, this program may not be for you, and I'd recommend you go over Kettlebell Simple and Sinister by Pavel. Now to do this program, you do need a certain level of strength. Pavel recommends that you go through the Kettlebell Simple standards out of Simple and Sinister, timeless, which means there is no time frame involved. So for women, it's a 24 kilo kettlebell, and for men, it's a 32 kilo kettlebell for the one-arm swing. So you have to do 100 timeless without any time frame. If you choose the one-arm snatch as your selected Kettlebell Axe exercise, then you must be familiar or be able to complete the 5-minute snatch test from the SFG1 curriculum. That should be a 24 kilo if you're a gentleman and a 16 kilo if you're a lady. Alright, let's get started. You're going to choose a kettlebell that you can perform 10 to 20 reps with your given exercise. Once you've chosen that kettlebell, you're going to perform a test. Start your timer and you're going to perform 4 reps every minute on the minute. Keep going for time and make sure you pass all of these stop signs. The first stop sign is your speed. Make sure you don't drop off in speed in any of the reps. 2, make sure your tempo doesn't drop off. In snatches or jerks, there's a certain cadence with every repetition. If you pause between reps increases, you should probably stop your exercise. 3, make sure your technique doesn't change in any way. 4, make sure you're able to pass the talk test before every set. Meaning, say a couple sentences, and if you can, carry on for the next set. 5, if your muscles start burning, or if there's congestion and you feel that you're really slowing down, you should stop. So start your test with your 10 to 20 rep max weight. Begin 4 reps every minute on the minute, and make sure you don't pass any of the stop signs I just mentioned. Keep going for a minimum of 10 to 20 minutes. If you failed one of the stop signs before you reach 10 minutes, that means that either the weight or the reps were too challenging. So you have 2 options. You can either drop the reps to 2 or drop weight and start the test over. Now, if you pass 20 minutes and you could keep going, then you have to adjust. You can either increase the reps to 6 or increase the weight and start the test over. The goal is to get between 10 to 20 minutes. That's your sweet spot for your starting point. Once you've established your starting point, say you reached 15 minutes with a given weight, and you're able to do 4 reps every minute on the minute for 15 minutes, stay there for a few weeks. Keep training this way for 2 to 3 sessions a week. On your 3rd session, make it a lot easier, so drop the volume 20 to 50%. So for example, if you did 15 minutes on Monday and Thursday, on Saturday, do maybe 10 minutes. Keep doing the same amount for at least a couple weeks until your rate of perceived exertion drops to a 6 or a 7. Whereas before, when you started, it was an 8 or a 9. Rate of perceived exertion is how much effort you put in to every session based on a scale from 1 to 10. 10 being all out and 1 being very easy. Your first session should be maybe an 8 or a 9, and then as you progress, it becomes easier and it'll go down to a 7 and even a 6. That's when you know you can add more sets and more time. The goal with this is to keep going eventually until you reach 30 minutes in total. So you'd be doing 4 reps every minute on the minute for 30 minutes. Once you reach the 30-minute mark, you have a couple of choices. You can either increase the weight or increase the reps to 6. If you decided to increase the weight rather than increase the reps, you may start the reps back at 2 and build up to 30 minutes over time. Once you build up to 30 minutes, increase your reps back up to 4 and start the process over again. Alternatively, if you went from 4 reps to 6 reps instead of adding weight, you begin back at 6 reps and start the process over again. Once you reach 30 minutes with 6 reps on the minute, that's a total of 180 reps. Increase the weight on the next session. So this is the triple progression method. You add more sets, then you add more reps, then you add more weight. So just to recap, do your test with 4 reps every minute on the minute. Make sure you fall between 10 to 20 minutes with your given weight. That's your starting session. Stay with that volume for a couple weeks until the rate of perceived exertion drops down to a 6 or 7. From then, start increasing the volume. Your goal is to reach a total of 30 minutes with 4 reps on the minute. Once you reach that point, either increase the reps or increase the weight. If you increase the weight, you may start at 2 reps or even 4 reps. Again, the goal is to build up to 30 minutes. If you've increased the reps as your progression to 6, build up to 30 minutes as well. From then on, just keep progressing. First add sets, then add reps or weight. After several months of this program, reevaluate your volume. Pavel recommends you may want to work up to 40 sets if you're very ambitious. Keep doing this until you work with a kettlebell between 40 to 60% of your body weight. Every once in a while, if you're feeling tired, have a deload day. That's highly recommended. So, like your 3rd session, you're going to drop the volume 20 to 50%. Have a deload day anytime you're feeling tired. Alternatively, you may want to have a glycolytic jolt every once in a while. What does that mean? Pavel calls it a shot of double espresso. A glycolytic jolt is basically we're going to feel the burn on purpose. So the way this works is instead of doing your reps every minute on the minute, you would do them every 30 seconds. For this glycolytic jolt, It's okay if you do not pass the talk test and if you're starting to feel the burn. However, if your power drops down, if your speed drops down, if your tempo drops, or if your technique changes anyway, the set is over. So in essence, we're gonna double the density of the training. If you're used to doing it on the minute, now we're doing it every 30 seconds. After the first series, if you fail one of the stop signs or before, have a short break, wait till your heart rate comes back down and you could speak clearly, and do it again. So you're gonna do 2 series of the glycolytic jolt back to back. Do this once or twice a month on Kettlebell X. Frequently asked questions is, can you combine this with other training programs? Well, yes, of course. That's the goal, is to be able to leave you with a lot of energy to do other things. Other sports have a life. You may also combine it with a pressing program or any type of strength training program that you want to follow. If you are doing a strength training program, which is more neurological, which is low reps, maybe low sets, then do your strength training before your axe session day. On Monday, you can do your strength, and on Tuesday, you do axe. If you're following more of a hypertrophy program, which is a muscle building routine, then do your axe before your hypertrophy day. So axe on Monday, hypertrophy on Tuesday. This program is great. You can combine it with any other training program, any other sport. The goal is to leave you with a lot of energy and less soreness. So high power to you. Another frequently asked question is, what's the difference between Kettlebell Axe and Kettlebell Simple and Sinister? There's a few differences. In Kettlebell Axe, we're following a triple progression method. So we're starting with a given amount of reps, then we're increasing the sets before we're increasing the weights. In Simple and Sinister, it's more of a step loading program where you're keeping the volume, the sets and the reps the same for a while before we're adding weight. In Axe, you have to follow every minute on the minute, and in Simple and Sinister, there's no time involved that you have to follow. In Axe, the reps can go up to 180 in total, and in Simple and Sinister, they cap out to 100. In Axe, it really minimizes glycolysis or lactic acid. In SNS, because you're doing sets of 10, you'll build a little more acid in the program. Those are the main differences. I hope you enjoyed this brief explanation of Kettlebell Axe by Pavel. If you have any more questions, you can leave them down below in the comments, and I highly recommend you check out the book.